Let's take a look at doing interior elevations in AutoCAD architecture using ARCHIdigm's custom callouts and content. On the screen before me, I have the example farmhouse project that we show on our website. It's in a PDF if you're curious. And the document just shows how our tools can be used to produce a project like this. I'm going to zoom down into the area here where I will do a set of 4 interior elevations. So if I zoom down here, this is the bathroom that I'm going to do. There's a couple of lavs, a toilet, a shower, and a bathtub. So I'll close this file, and I won't save it. And then I'll go to the Views tab on the Project Navigator and locate a file. It's just a view file where I've already started doing some work. So I'll go ahead and open that up. So here we go. So for this particular single-family, single-story residence, my technique is as what you can see on the screen, where I just do all of my call-out work in one file. So by call-out work, basically I'm talking about sections, hence the name over here, sections. So I see elevations as a type of section, interiors as a type of section, so they're all sections. And I will do them all in one file. Now, that doesn't mean you should follow this technique, but I'll elaborate on it as I go on. You know, I just do it because of a variety of reasons that I've discovered over time. It helps me be more productive, I think, because I can work with all of these things in a file, in a single file, where I like to have them together to do cross-referencing and copying of annotation and so on. But what I'm going to focus on really here is just the annotation symbol and its relationship to the sheet that those interior elevations go to. You know, how the automated numbering and the linking of that numbering. That's what I will focus on. So here's the area that I'm planning to do the elevations in. And what I'll do before I get going is I'll jump over to my final sheet. So if you're doing a set of construction documents or a permit set, you'd probably have a sheet looking something like this. Now this sheet was set up for presenting how our tools work, so you'll see things in here that you know, are about our tools, but it's close to what would be submitted for a permit. So I'm going to zoom in here and show that here's the bathroom and the orientation of the farmhouse. And you'll notice it's different than the way it was modeled. So this is, you should see my UCS here. So if that ever occurs to you, what you'll need to do is what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and change my UCS. I'm going to go to Z and rotate it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to type in plan and hit enter twice. What that does is it realigns my my screen view to the rotated UCS, so I'm looking at it in the same orientation. On the left, I have the General Tools Annotation tool palette, and on it are the custom callouts that we've created. They're very similar to the ones that you get in the core product, but we've done some minor tweaks, I would say, to these symbols. Let me just get rid of, I have some stuff here, a remnant from a previous run. So now I'll go ahead and put the symbol in. Let's check the scale, 1/4 inch. Okay, that's good. I'll go ahead and put that symbol in. So this is the 4-way call out. I'll turn snap off because I just want to try to locate this right in the diagonal center. This is what makes sense to me. I'm looking also at my bathtub and shower. I'm going to put it right about here. And then I'm going to pick straight up. And I'm going to go ahead and type in, let's see, let's do an M, bathroom. And so here you have these 3 options. If you're not familiar with doing this kind of work, you can generate the interior elevations, which are 2D projections. You can generate them in a new file, a new view drawing, or you can pick an existing view drawing, which is just a file, but it's in the view category here. Or you can do it in the current, which is what I will be doing. And the choice about this stuff will be up to you. And I think you should do experiments if you're not familiar with what works best. Try to figure out what works best for you. So I'm just going to do current here. And then on my command line, I get a question about pick a region to specify. I'm just going to hit enter. And then that'll allow me to do my rectangle that defines the sort of the range of the interior elevation. So I'll turn on my snap. And if you zoom down into a corner and you use ARCHIdigm's walls, all of our walls have materials. So for example, this is a residential interior wall. This is a residential exterior wall. And I can see that this is the sheetrock here. This is the ½ inch. So I'm going to go ½ inch into the wall in this corner. And then in the opposite corner, I can see this is a ½ inch. Here's the edge of the sheetrock. I'm going to go a ½ inch past. And now I'm going to see the symbols that show where those cut lines are going to occur. I'm going to bring them close enough so that the cut lines are in a more ideal location. You may not win on your first go at this, meaning that the cut lines are not where you want them. They're easy to adjust after the case. So down here, I'm going to go to the default height. If you do know the height that you want, go ahead and type that in, but I'm just going to go to the default. And now I can see my cut lines, and now it's going to ask me where to put the interior elevation. So I already have my kitchen stuff started, so I'll just put my interior elevations for the bathroom here and just pick that direction. And it'll take a minute, maybe 30 seconds, to generate those 4 views. Okay, so good. Now I'm going to put my UCS back to world. And I can just work on these in a normal orientation. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at each of these very quickly to see if I have some problems with them. And I do. I don't like the ceiling height. It goes up beyond the ceiling, which is not accurate for interior elevation. And I'd like to have the floor. What I do like is I'm seeing that ½ inch. So this is going to print like extra dark because of that 1/2 inch. So if you wanted to I don't know, emulate the style that I'm using here, you could reduce it to a 1/16 of an inch past the wall, something like that, to get a thinner line. But let's go and fix the top and the bottom range needs some adjustment. So I'll go back up here, and I'm going to pick those 4 cut lines. Here they are. Over on the properties palette, under dimensions, make sure it says use model extension for height as set that to no. If yours says yes, it'll look like this, so change it to no. And then go ahead and set your ceiling height plus 1/2 inch. So I believe my ceiling in that area is 9 feet, so I'm going to add 1/2 inch to that. Like that. And then for lower projection, I also want a ½ inch down into my finished floor, so I get the same amount of thickness around the edge. So I'll do 1/2. All right, and that should do it. While I'm here, let's adjust one of these section cuts. I think this one here, I don't want it cutting there. I want it into the shower, so I'll bring it up a little bit like that. That's good. And I'll leave the rest alone. They all look pretty good. Now I'll go down here. I'll grab all of these 4 views, right click, and do a, oops, I must have something else. So I'll pick them again. And I'll right click and do a refresh. All right, so that's the look that I was shooting for. It's nice and clean. This is not showing because it's in the doorway, so it's kind of catching the edge of the door. So that's something you could go and adjust if you are bothered by that. Let's take a look here now at these titles. So these are customized titles that we created. And there's a problem with modifying the default system in AutoCAD architecture you cannot get rid of this line, or at least we couldn't find any way of, it draws this line in. So you'll have to erase those if you use our symbols. And it's just a click on that line, get rid of it. Now what's left here is a so an update to the original titles, which were before dynamic blocks were available. So these are dynamic block titles. And I think they're better because they're just single, they're just single things with a little grip on there and some other options as well. So for example, let's say I want to take this and bring it over. I want to shrink it a little. I want to bring it like that, and I like the length, and then I just want everything to be about there. It's easier to do. You just have a little grip, and then I can read the length down here on the properties palette. Let's see if I scroll. Here we go. So I like the length of whatever number that is. I'm going to highlight it, right-click, copy, and then I'm just going to grab these remaining ones, and I'm going to come down, and in the same area, paste that same value, so they're all the same length. And then I'm going to, oops, I should do that more accurately, so I'll go ahead and just move them up so that they line up with this mark here. Let's see, right? I'm going to do a dot Y and just snap to that point up there. And then I'll just go ahead and kind of move these all over like that. All right. And then what I might do is just arrange these a little bit closer to each other, keeping some room for annotation. And then I might move this over, something like that. All right. And let's see. Oh, so before I go ahead and place these on the sheet, I just want to talk briefly about the glass in the door. I did discuss this in another YouTube video, but let's just take care of it here again. So notice the door has a hatch pattern of dots in it. We customized the glass doors to do that so that you can see through it, and you can see the fixture here and also the tile beyond. So it allows you to keep your interior elevation on the outside of the shower rather than having to cut through the shower just to show the tile. So this is how I prefer. The problem is that if you use a wall for the glass of a shower where there's no door, it won't be able to do that because the wall is always seen as a solid entity. So what we did is we built some curtain walls that have a block inside of them with a hatch pattern in it to produce the same effects, but you'll have to make a little adjustment in your file to get that curtain wall to work. So bear with me here. I'll show you. If this is not of interest to you, don't worry about it. But I'm just going to run up here. I'm going to go down to, so this is, oops, I might have gone a little fast. I'm going to go to Manage, Display Manager. I'm going to go down to Representation by Object. I'm going to find Curtain Wall. And I already in this file have a display representation for elevation that's just not being used. If you don't have that and you're using our curtain walls for showers, copy the model, rename it elevation, and then do this. Go over an unchecked model and just check section elevation. This is all in our user guide if you need this information. But see, what we want is an elevation version or view of the curtain wall specifically used for section elevation. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then now if I do a refresh, I'll be able to see through the curtain wall like that, right? This is ideal as far as I'm concerned. All right. What's the next thing we need to take a look at is if we go ahead and pick on one of these generated views, you're going to see a rectangle that represents the viewport size when it goes onto a sheet. And these are always bigger than I want. So here's a little trick that I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Layer, and let's see, All Non-Layers. I got a little graphic glitch there, but I set it to All None. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle. And I'm going to make this rectangle the size that I want for the viewport. So probably something like, I got to keep in mind my annotation that's going to go in there. So probably about that big. And I'll go ahead and set that to a non-printing layer. Let's see, down at the bottom. I'll just put a no plot like that. So now I can use that as my guide, and I'm just going to snap here, boom, boom, right? So what I can do now is grab that, and I can bring it over. So maybe I want the next one here, and the next one right about there. You could be obviously more careful than I'm being here. I'm being a little sloppy due to the need for being faster. Let's see, bring this down. See, I'm going to readjust each one of these. Snap you to here, and you'll see why it's worth doing this extra work. I'll go ahead and do this one, and I'm going to leave the last one alone. Okay, so we'll leave the last one being, remember this one's all huge, right? So we'll leave that one as is. Okay, so let's move on to the next step here. We need to place these interior elevations on a sheet. This is not a sheet. This is just a working file, a view file. So we'll go to the sheets, and we'll go ahead and create a new sheet in the Project Navigator, and I'll say new sheet. And I'm going to name it, since I already have I1 for interior elevations, that was the kitchen stuff, I'll do an I1.1. And I'll just go ahead and name this thing the same thing. So go ahead and bring that up. Okay, so in my template file, I have a default viewport. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't want the viewport. All right, and I'll go ahead now and jump back to my views, and I should see those views now in here. There they are. Those are the other ones that I did for the kitchen and my sections and all that sort of stuff. But I want the bathroom ones, right? So here's the first one, the second, third, and fourth. So now I'll go ahead and just drag that over into the paper space environment. And if I hold still, it's going to show me that I can still change my mind about the scale. I think if you hold still here, it'll show you there. And you can right-click and change your mind. But I set it all up for what I wanted, which was 1/4 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and place that. And once you've done that, it's going to number that sequentially. So we'll go ahead and pick the next one. And now you can see my adjustive viewport will allow me to line these up nicely. And they're all, you know, if I do you can see each of these titles are all nicely lined up. The bottoms of all of these, this is the way you want to present them. And I'll do this one. And now I'm going to do the last one that I didn't make any adjustment on, just to show you that that's going to come in large and be kind of messy. So it's worth it. See what I have to deal with here. So now I gotta do a lot of work to match that up. At least I have that blue viewport rectangle that can help me a little bit. But I hate having to adjust these viewports. This is much better. That's lined up well. And let's take a look here. So we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're in good order. We've got some things with the names that I'm not happy with, and we got this thing that we added in there called the view group attribute that we should take a look at. So let's go back here to sheets. Let's expand. See, now that you've made a sheet and you put in those views, they will line up here. So you can see them right there. And they will also show up over here when they were originally generated. So these are the same views. So just be aware of that. They're showing up basically twice, once in one file, and then again over here as they're being brought in. If you go to the View tab and you pick on, say, the first one, right-click, you're not going to see any rename options for it. You can go to Properties, and there will be a little bit of stuff you can change, but really the main intent, I think, by the core designers was that if you needed to make number changes or name changes, you would do it in the view file. So if I go ahead and pick on the first one here, right-click, you'll see there's a rename and renumber option. So I can run through and change the number, and then I'd have to move them around if I wanted a different orientation. And I can change the name. So I'm going to change the name. The numbers are good, but I'm going to go to number 2, and I don't want this in there. And next one, I'm going to get rid of this. And next one, I'm going to get rid of this. I just want it to look like that. And then I'll do a regen all. And those should all come out looking good. Okay, so there we go. See, they all just say bathroom 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's take a look at this view group. Unfortunately, they didn't allow for custom stuff in here. Would have been great if there was another field, or that you could add fields where you could input other things like a view group, or whatever else you might want to do, maybe a subline under here that says something specific. But these are the only two things that they came up with. Also, wouldn't it have been cool if the view automatically read the name of the room from your space tag? You know, but those things never happened. So let's take a look at view group here. We'll jump back all the way here. So we created this attribute, but it has to be manually set. So the idea here is that, let's say this is the A set, so let's call this one the B set. So I would go here and I'll just click on it, and down on my properties palette here, view group, I would manually type in B, making that the B group, right? And then I could go down here and then I could just grab each one of these and manually set them to the B group. Let's see, view group, and then set them to B. Okay. Maybe in a future video I'll show how you can actually link data from one attribute to another attribute, but I'm not going to dig into that right now. You could link this to that other tag. Okay, so these are the B groups. And I think we're pretty much, so we'll go ahead and do a save. And let's just check the sheet over here and do a reload. Okay, so these are all done now. They're all going to save. Come on, there we go. So they're all done. All right, so the next step would be to get to your title, your floor plan, and get the symbol in. So this is where you'll start to see, well, how should you work with your views? So if I go back to my, this is the scratch pad where I have them all, right? What we really want is we want that symbol right here. We want to place that symbol into this plan. So I think the original designers imagined that you would lay out your floor plan and put all the symbols in sections, elevation symbols, and then that would serve to be the source that would go into your floor plan, for example. But that would force you to have to generate those sections, elevations, into yet another file, another view file. And I'm just not really thrilled about splitting my things up that much, but certainly decide for yourself. So I'm going to go ahead here and do a UCS Z90 again, plan, and I'm going to rotate myself to the same orientation, and I'm going to take a look at our symbol. So this is the symbol that we based it on the original one that came from the product. We just made some minor tweaks, which I'll show you in a second. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab each of these parts of that symbol. That's it right here. I've got all the parts. I'm going to go ahead and do a Control-C on that. And I'm going to go to my floor plan, drop into the viewport, and then I'm going to place it in here. So it's a copy of that. And over here, I notice the placement of this symbol is in a different location because this is about the graphics of things, the presentation, where the other one was sort of a working tool version. So I think I'm going to have to place it right about here, which will force me to have to move the label. And that might be a different task. If your label is associated with your spaces, you may have to work on your spaces file to do this. In this particular file, my tag is just sitting here free floating, so I'm lucky I can just go ahead. Boy, I really don't like doing it like this where it blocks the tub, but I'm just going to do it like that. Maybe I'll reduce the word bathroom, but you know, I'm sure if you have done this kind of work, you know what kind of headache this is. I really don't like it there, but I'm not going to waste time on this. So we'll leave it like that. So here's the symbol copied over, and it is still associated with this file. It knows all that same information just because I copied it and pasted it. All right, so we're good there. And I can go ahead and I'll leave that. I'm going to do a save. And I'm going to go ahead and do a save here. And I'm going to do a save here. Now, by the way, I missed something here I wanted to show you. One of the things we did to that custom symbol is we put each one of these directions, we put a little grip on it so that you could turn any of those off. Right? So sometimes you do an interior elevation, you decide, well, I don't really want all 4 directions. Maybe I only want 2 directions, so you can just do a simple on-off switch on those. All right, just FYI. Okay, so now, let's see, I'll go ahead and close that. Let's take a look at something that can be quite perplexing. Um, you're moving along in your project, and you got to do something like move all of your interior elevations to a new sheet. They're piling up, and it doesn't make sense to have this group on this sheet, or maybe two of them need to move to another sheet. So you'll run into some really perplexing stuff when you do that kind of thing. Everything works the first time, usually, and then things can start to break. So we'll take a look at that. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to my permit set here. I'm going to create yet a new sheet for interiors. This one will be I1.2. And I'm going to call this interior elevations. And OK. All right. Like before, I'm going to get rid of my master viewport. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to take all of these guys. I'm going to do, I can do, let's see, I could probably do a Control C and a Control V to just bring them over. Yeah, it sure didn't like that. That's because the XREF didn't come over. So what can I do? Let's see. Why don't we just do it? There's different ways. I'm gonna not do it this way though. I'm doing a way that's sort of more logical for people. So I'm gonna go ahead and just delete those. Save the file. I'm gonna go over here and get rid of the XREF that came in with those files. I'll detach it. I don't need it in this file anymore. And save it. I'm going to close that file. All right. Now I'm in I1.2, so I'll just redo that work. I'll go ahead and bring I'll bring bathroom 1 in. All right, and you're going to see some stuff that you're not going to like. So I'll go ahead and bring this one in, and I'll do that. And I'll bring just one more in. Let's see. Right there. Okay, so that's enough. We'll zoom in and take a look here. Now you should already see, yeah, look at that. And if you're not really deeply enmeshed in the workings of AutoCAD architecture, at this point it's going to be one of those hands in the air deal. You're going to wonder what in the world is going on, and you might just go and attack all of this with overrides and manually taking control of everything. I wouldn't blame anybody for doing it. So what's going on? It lost its association is what happened. It doesn't understand that you are trying to reassociate with a new file. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the source of the problem, which is in the sections file, which is right here. So I have the symbol there, and I have this down here. Let me do a UCS, and go to World, and then Plan. Okay, and we'll go down here and take a look. See, these all lost their link. So what you need to do is just relink them. All right, so I'm going to go here to Sheets. I'm going to expand this. This is the I1.2. So they're all there, and let's rename them like before. So this one's good. Next, let's get rid of that 2. Next, and let's get rid of that 3. And okay, right? So I've redone all that work. Now 1 needs to go with 1. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1 needs to go to 1. So I'm going to take 1. This is the symbol, the label with the attributes in it. I'm going to take that, hold my mouse pick button down, and drag it over and associate it with number 1. Okay, and that should fix it. Okay, so it's reassociated. I'm going to do the same thing here. Boom, number 2. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing here, number 3. All right, so see, it's all linked back up. So now let's take a look at the symbol up here. So the only thing in here, let's take Regen All. Each of these has kind of got some issues as well. So we'll link this one. This is number 1, so we'll bring that over to 1. Okay, we'll grab this one, link that to number 2, and take this one and link that to number 3. Okay, and now we'll do the sheet number. So we'll take this sheet number, and we'll link that to any one of these. It won't read that, but it'll read wherever that one is. Okay, so that reestablishes that. So now we'll do a save. And we'll go here and we'll do a reload. All right, and everything should be good again. So 1, 2, 3. All right. So that kind of covers the core stuff. Now I'll take the last couple of minutes here and dig in a little deeper. If you're not interested, this would be a good time to tune out. This is going to get into how the data actually works and why it all got messed up to begin with. This would be good knowledge if you get into situations that even what I just did won't fix it. Now you'll know why, you know, what's driving all of that stuff. So if we go back to the sections, let's go down to this one here, this first one. All right, so we can tell that these are attributed fields just simply by, oh, look at that, 1 over 64. Why is it doing that? Something about, oh, that's very strange. I wonder why it's saying 164. Let's check a couple of things here. Okay, quarter is good. There we go. That's odd. Anyway, so let's take the first one here, the number. Double click. And then if you come in here, you're going to see that the little background colors there indicating there's a field inserted there. So if you double click on that field, you're going to see that it's associated with, or I should say the field name that it's connected to is called the sheet view, which is as it's been placed over on a sheet, it connects to a sheet view, and that's why you see the views over on that sheet. So here's the sheet, and it's showing you each of those views as they've been brought over, and so you can actually repath something. So if this thing had been inadvertently blown out, you could manually come in and just reset it to the one that you want it to go to. And notice here, these are the 4 properties that you get to work with. Unfortunately, no custom ones. So you only have those to choose from if you're going to make your own symbols and use fields to drive this stuff. This is all that you're going to be able to work with. So if I cancel here, this next one will be the same thing, but it'll show that it's picking off the view title instead of the view number. Okay, and then the final one is going to be the scale, of course, right? So if I have one like this that's completely blown up, excuse me, and I can't get it to work, I can always go in there and rethread it. So for example, I can go in here, double click on the number, double click here, and then boy, that, see, it doesn't like what's going on at all. Did I get the right one? Yeah. All right, so it's saying unknown. So I could come down here and I could go, let's see, let's just go to sheet. Nope, that's not the one we want. Sheet set, there we go. And then we go to sheet view, all right? And I can do a full override. I could associate that with number 3 if I wanted to. So it'll just come out and apply. Oh boy, did I pick the wrong, I want the number right. Yeah, there. So now I've done that to it, right? I've totally manually overridden it. Now if I want to set this back to a default, what I can do is I can go here and I can go to the sheet placeholder. This will set it back to its default mode before it's even been associated. If you manually override it, it's probably not, I can't remember, but I don't think it'll let you drag and drop and make that change. So you'll want to set it back to the default mode. And you just do it by going to the sheet set placeholder and then its view number, and then you're good. And then you'll do apply and OK. And so now it's gone back to its default mode where it can be dragged and dropped into place. I think that pretty much covers all the things that I had in mind to discuss. Oh, on our symbols here, if you click here, there's one extra thing that we did. We put a little footer line, so you could say something like partial. Yeah, just another little thing that we added to it. All right, that covers the interior elevations. Hopefully this information is useful.